I love when people say, don't feel guilty about letting things go. Get rid of it. Rip the band aid off and you'll feel better. But that can be hard, right? Even borderline impossible, especially at this stage of life. Let's be honest, we've spent decades filling our homes, raising kids, celebrating holidays, living through all the things that come with a full and busy life. So, of course, there's emotion tied to what's inside. But here's the good news, you can keep the memory without keeping all the stuff. And today, I'm going to show you how. Hey there, my name's Tracy Lynn, and I help midlife women right size their homes and their lives in the very best way. And today, we are going to tackle one of the trickiest areas in every home, sentimental items. Here's the thing, almost everything in our home has emotion tied to it, and that makes it really hard to deal with, let alone let go of. The Easter dishes that have been in your family for years, the sweatshirt you wore when you found out you were pregnant, the cookbook your mother used every Sunday, the baby clothes, the blankets, the toys, all the random things that would mean nothing to anyone else, but mean everything to you. And even when you finally get the courage to go through those things, you are just one conversation away from backing yourself into the corner. You know the one. You're holding the cutest pair of coveralls your now 30-year-old son used to wear as a toddler. And you tell yourself, if you let that go, you're letting the memory go too. The smell of him, the sound of his giggle, the way he would hang onto your leg and never let go. And suddenly, this isn't about fabric anymore. So back in the box it goes to sit with all the other clothes that are in there. And then there's the other tricky items, the things that were passed down from parents and aunts and uncles. Now it feels like it's your responsibility to keep all the things. So you tell yourself, I can't let this go, or my mother would just be heartbroken. So we keep them all forever and ever. It's those conversations that keep your home holding every chapter of your life and sometimes other people's lives too. Okay, so let me jump in here and give you a little relief before this gets any more overwhelming. There is a way to keep the memory without keeping all the stuff. But first, let me tell you a quick story so you could see how I figured this all out, because I kind of learned this the hard way. When my grandmother passed away, I was given her set of good china. And it meant so much to me. It reminded me of the holidays and Sunday dinners and her standing at the stove in her apron. So I packed it up carefully into a box and put it in my basement. And then I forgot all about it. So years went by, right? That box sat there in the corner of my basement, completely forgotten. I did not see it. I didn't use it. It just sat there. Then one day I was down in the basement and I noticed this sad little box shoved in the corner behind some old furniture. Nothing written on the outside telling me what was inside. So I opened it up and I literally stared at it. There were her dishes. And in that moment, the memories, they just came rushing back. I could see her, I could hear her. It felt like she was right there with me. But here's what hit me in that moment, that entire set sitting in a box was not honoring her, it was storing her. And I had to be honest with myself. I already had several sets of dishes, and hers, although they were lovely, they just weren't my style. I was not going to use them. That was the honest truth of it. But I didn't want to let go of them either because I told myself if the dishes left, that feeling of her memory, it was going to leave with them. And that's when I realized something. I did not need to keep 12 place settings to remember my grandmother. I needed one. That's it, just one. So I kept one dinner plate, one saucer, and I put them on a stand and then put them in my office where I see them every single day. Now, when I walk into that room, I see her, not because I kept everything, but because I kept a piece and I made it visible. That is what I call a memory sample. So, a memory sample is keeping part of something so you can keep the memory intact without keeping the entire collection. I've been using this approach for a few years now, and it's allowed me to bring those memories into my living space of my home so I can enjoy them all while freeing up space in my attic and my basement. It's a win all the way around, right? So let me show you how this looks in real life. Instead of keeping my grandmother's entire collection of cookbooks, I took her famous handwritten brownie recipe and I put it into a frame. Now I see her handwriting, the stains from years of use, and her memory in my kitchen where I can enjoy it. That one small sheet of paper says so much more than an entire collection of books ever could. Oh, and this one is real for so many of us, and I'm sure you can relate to it. So, after each one of my boys were grown out of the baby phase, whatever it is, I had this tote of baby clothes, right? The cutest little clothes you ever saw. And I would put them in a tote, label them nice and neat, and put it in my attic. But those totes just sat there for years and years. And eventually they started to take over as one boy turned into four boys and the totes just multiply. And I knew I needed to do an edit. So I chose just a couple of outfits for each of my boys and I put them inside of their small memory totes that I'm saving for them. Now I had a smaller amount that is no longer overwhelming and a sample so I'm not burying the memory. Another biggie, photos of my kids. So I have a photo from each year of my kids when they went to school. And I'm sure if you have kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So what I did was I put them all into a frame. Every new year, a new photo got put on the front and all the old photos were behind it from birth all the way to the current grade that they're in from school, right? Then, whenever a new photo came in, we'd lay all the photos out and we'd look at them one by one by one, all the way down the line. And it was so much fun to see how much they've changed over the years. It is actually one of my favorite things to do. All right, here's the thing. When you keep all of it, you stop seeing it, right? And I know what some of you are thinking, but it was passed down to me. It's my responsibility to keep it now, right? Here's the thing, keeping a piece without keeping all of it still honors the responsibility. So let me say that again with all the kindness in the world, because I think some of us really need to hear it. Keeping a piece still honors the responsibility. You are not required to keep a family storage unit. You are allowed to choose part of the best that represents the story and let the rest move on to someone who can enjoy it, who can use it and care for it properly. If something is truly important, it deserves to be out and visible, or at the very least, stored in the best way so it can be enjoyed when you're ready to do that, not sitting in a damp box in a basement like I did. And here's something I want you to really hear. You're not a bad person for downsizing inherited items. You are simply living in a space you have now. Right-size living does not erase your life. It displays it better. So here's a simple question I want you to ask yourself whenever you get stuck working on these items. If I could only keep one piece of this, what would it be? Look over what you have in front of you and choose that one piece. That is your memory sample. So start there. One dish instead of 12. One outfit instead of 7 bins. One recipe instead of a dozen cookbooks. You'll be amazed how much lighter your home feels when you're not trying to house every memory all at once. Here's the thing. You've lived a full and amazing life. Your home does not need to hold all of it to prove that. Keep the memory, keep the very best piece, let the rest move on. And that is how you honor your past while still creating a home that fits your life today. Okay, I hope this gives you a little bit of relief today because listen, you worked hard for those memories. You lived them, you earned them. So, yes, you get to keep them. You just don't have to keep all of it. And that is great news. All right, before I go, if this was helpful, please give this video a thumbs up so more women like you can find it and find the help that I'm trying to give. There are a lot of us quietly stuck in the memories we have stored in our homes. And if you're ready to right-size your home in a way that actually makes sense for this stage of life, make sure you subscribe. I put out a new video every Friday and we tackle this stuff together. One drawer, one tote, one memory sample at a time. All right, take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.